Hello and welcome, friends. This is Bookso English, and I'm your friend Avenil. Let me ask you something. Have you ever learned a new English word, felt proud of yourself, and then the next day it's gone? Poof! It's like your brain hit the delete button while you were sleeping. You try to remember it, but your mind is just blank. You even think, wait, I knew this yesterday. What happened? If this has happened to you, you're not alone. It happens to me. It happens to every English learner. And you know what? It's not your fault. Your brain isn't broken. You're not bad at learning. Forgetting is actually part of learning. But here's the secret. If you understand why you forget words, you can learn how to remember them for a long time. Most learners think forgetting means they failed. But really, forgetting is your brain's way of saying, hey, this word needs more attention before I keep it forever. That's it. Today we're going to talk about why we forget words. And not just the boring science. I'm going to tell you simple, easy tips you can use starting today to fight back against forgetting. So grab your notebook, relax, and listen carefully. Because if you stay until the end of this lesson, you'll understand your memory better than most people ever will. And you'll feel powerful, not frustrated, the next time a word slips away. Forgetting is natural. Think about it. You learn something new, but your brain has thousands of things to store. Your name, your phone number, where your keys are, the sound of your friend's voice. English words are fighting for space inside your head. If you don't give a word enough attention, your brain says, not important right now, and moves it to the back. Soon, you can't find it. And here's something funny. Sometimes you don't forget the word completely. It's still in your brain, but you can't pull it out fast enough when you need it. You know that feeling when you say, oh, I know this word like it's on the tip of my tongue? That's because your brain didn't practice pulling it out quickly. So when you speak, the word hides. The first reason we forget words is no repetition. You learn a word once, maybe twice, and then never see it again. Your brain is like, well, I guess this isn't important. Let's recycle the space. You can't expect your brain to remember something it saw only once. Imagine meeting a person for 2 seconds. Will you remember their face next week? Probably not. Words are the same. The second reason is no connection. Your brain loves to connect new things to old things. If a new word just floats in your head alone, it's easy to lose. But if you connect it to a picture, a story, or a funny example, it sticks. For example, if you learn the word bridge, don't just think bridge means a road over water. Think of a real bridge you walked on. Feel the wind, hear the cars. Now your brain says, this word has meaning. I'll keep it. The third reason is no emotion. You remember the happiest and saddest moments of your life because emotion makes your brain say, this is important. If learning a word is boring, your brain won't care. But if you laugh at a word, or it surprises you, or it's part of a story that excites you, boom, it sticks. That's why sometimes you remember random silly English phrases from movies, even years later. Now, I want you to think about this. The problem is not forgetting. The problem is how you learn. If your method doesn't repeat, connect, or create emotion, your brain will let the word fade away. and then you feel bad. But instead of feeling bad, you can change your method. I remember when I first started learning English, I would write big lists of words. I felt like a genius until I realized I remembered almost none of them after a week. I thought I was stupid. But no, I was just learning in the wrong way. I didn't repeat them. I didn't connect them to anything, and I didn't feel anything about them. It was just a cold list. Here's a quick example of the difference. Let's say you learn the word forest. Cold way. Forest equals many trees. Better way. Picture walking in a forest. Hear the leaves crunch. Smell the air. Maybe imagine you're in a magical forest from a movie. Now the word isn't just a word. It's a place you've been in your mind. In the rest of this lesson, we'll go deeper into the reasons our brains forget, and I'll give you simple tricks to make words stick forever. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to know how your brain works and work with it, not against it. Before we finish this first chapter, here's your first little memory mission. Today, choose one English word you learned before, but keep forgetting. Make it your best friend today. Say it out loud 10 times. Write it in a sentence. Tell someone the word. Imagine it. Give it emotion. At the end of the day, you'll remember it better than any random word from your old lists. You're not bad at remembering words. You just need to feed your brain in the way it understands best. And trust me, once you do, you'll feel unstoppable. Chapter 2. The Memory Curve. Why we forget so fast. Have you ever noticed that you remember a new word really well right after you learn it? But after one day, it's like it disappeared? That's not just bad luck. That's something scientists have actually studied. It's called the forgetting curve. The forgetting curve is like a little graph of your brain's memory. Imagine a hill. At the top of the hill is the moment you learn a word. Right after you learn it, you remember 100% of it. But as time goes on, the hill slopes down. After one day, you might remember only 50%. After a week, maybe 20%. After a month, maybe nothing. Why does this happen? Because your brain is smart. It's always deciding what is important and what is not. If you don't use something, your brain says, you're not using this word. Let's make space for something else. But here's the good news. The forgetting curve can be beaten. You can make the hill flat instead of sliding down. How? By spaced repetition. That's a fancy way of saying, review the word many times, but with space between each review. Here's how it works. You learn the word umbrella today. Right after you learn it, you say it a few times. You imagine the sound of rain hitting your umbrella. Good. Then tomorrow, you review it again. Now the word is fresh in your mind. Then 3 days later, you review it again. Then a week later. Then 2 weeks later. Each time you review, the forgetting curve gets smaller. After a while, your brain says, okay, I guess you really need this word. I'll keep it forever. Think about your favorite song lyrics. You didn't learn them in one day. You heard them many times, maybe over months. That's why you can still sing them years later. Here's something important. Reviewing is not just reading the word again. You need to use it. Your brain remembers better when you speak, hear, and write. If you only look at it, it's like watching a football match without playing. You'll never get the skill. Let's make this simple with an example schedule for learning a new word. Day 1. Learn it. Say it out loud. Write it. Imagine it. Day 2. Review it quickly and make a new sentence. Day 4. Review again. Maybe tell someone the word in conversation. Day 7. Use it in a short story or message. Day 14. Review once more and connect it to a new word. This method is like watering a plant. If you give water every day for the first few days and then less often after it grows, the plant stays alive. But if you water it once and then forget, it dies. Words are plants in your mind. Here's something you might be thinking. But Avenil, this takes time. Yes, it does. But here's the magic. You don't have to do it for every single word you ever see. Only for the words you really want to remember and use. Quality beats quantity. When I first learned English, I made the mistake of trying to learn 30 new words every day. I felt like a hero for 1 week. Then I forgot almost all of them. Now I learn fewer words but spend more time reviewing them. I can actually use them in speaking, so they're real, living words in my brain. Another secret to fight the forgetting curve is active recall. That means trying to remember the word without looking. For example, you see the picture of an umbrella and try to say umbrella without reading it. Or you think in your head, what's that thing I use when it rains? And pull out the word. This is like training a muscle. The more you pull a word out of your brain, the stronger the connection becomes. Also, don't panic when you forget a word during review. That's actually good. It means your brain is getting a little wake-up call to remember it better next time. Forgetting and then remembering makes the memory stronger. It's like breaking a bone and having it grow back even stronger. Here's your memory mission for today. Pick 3 words you've learned before but keep forgetting. Write them on small cards. Review 1 today, 1 tomorrow, and 1 3 days later. Then cycle them again. Watch how much longer they stay in your brain this time. If you can master the forgetting curve, you will never fear forgetting again. You'll know it's just part of the game. And you'll have the tools to win. Chapter 3. Your brain is like a computer, but cooler. I want you to imagine your brain as a giant computer. Every English word you learn is like a file you save. Some files are saved in a quick folder on your desktop. Easy to find. Others are saved deep inside strange folders you forgot you even made. And some get thrown into the trash bin and deleted. Here's the thing. When you learn a new English word, your brain decides where to save it. If the word feels important, your brain puts it in a strong, easy-to-reach folder. If the word feels random, it might be saved in a weak, hidden folder. Later, when you try to speak, you search for it. But it's buried. So how can we make sure words get saved in the VIP folder of your brain? Simple. You have to tag them, link them, and use them. First, tagging the word. Think about your phone gallery. You have thousands of pictures, but you can quickly find your pet's photos if they're tagged cat or dog. Words work the same. When you tag a word in your brain, you connect it to something familiar. For example, if you learn ocean, tag it with the sound of waves, the smell of salt, and maybe your last trip to the beach. That way, when you hear ocean, your brain instantly pulls up the file with all the tags. Second, linking the word. Linking is when you connect new words to other words you already know. Let's say you know rain and cloud. If you learn storm, you link it to those two. Now, when you think storm, your brain quickly jumps between the connected words. This web of words makes your memory stronger. 3. Using the word. You can save a file on your computer, but if you never open it, you'll forget it exists. Same with English words. If you learn a word but never use it, your brain thinks, I guess we don't need this anymore. Speaking, writing, and hearing the word is like opening the file again and again. Here's something interesting. Your brain doesn't just store words. It stores the feeling of the moment you learned them. If you laughed while learning a word, that file is like a favorite song. You can find it easily. That's why learning with fun, jokes, or stories works better than boring word lists. Let's do a little brain experiment. I'll give you 2 versions of the same learning moment. Boring version. Bicycle means a 2-wheeled vehicle you can ride. Fun version. Imagine you're riding a bicycle downhill. The wind is in your hair. You almost hit a squirrel and you scream, "Ah!" but you're laughing. Which one will you remember tomorrow? The second one, of course, because it's tagged with pictures, feelings, and sounds. Another important thing is file size. Your brain can't save giant word files if you overload them with too much detail at once. If you try to learn 20 meanings of a single word in one day, your brain says, too big. Can't store it all right now. Instead, start small. Learn the basic meaning, use it a few times, then add more meanings later. I also like to think about updating the file. Sometimes you learned a word years ago, but in a boring way. That file is dusty. Update it by making new connections. For example, maybe you learned apple as just a fruit. Now think of Apple the company, the logo, or even apple pie. Boom, the file is fresh again. Here's your memory mission for today. Choose one word you've been forgetting. Give it tags, picture, sound, feeling, link it to other words, and use it at least 3 times today. At the end of the day, try to recall it without looking. You'll see the difference. The truth is, your brain is way cooler than a computer. Computers store information exactly as you give it. But your brain? It makes connections, builds meaning, and even protects you from overload. Once you learn how to work with it, you can make English words stay in your VIP folder forever. Chapter 4. Emotions, Motivation, and Your Environment. Have you ever wondered why you can remember song lyrics from years ago, but you can't remember a word you learned last week? It's not magic. It's emotion. Your brain is like a security guard. It guards your memory, and asks one question for every new piece of information. Is this important enough to keep? And emotion is like the VIP pass that gets you inside. When you're happy, excited, curious, or even a little scared, your brain works harder to remember what's happening. That's why you remember your first day at school or your last birthday party in detail. There were feelings involved. But when you learn an English word in a boring, cold way, your brain doesn't get the signal to keep it. It thinks, not special. Let's let this one go. That's why the way you feel when learning matters. If you're smiling, laughing, or feeling proud, your brain says, yes, save this. If you're stressed, tired, or bored, your brain might not store it well. Now let's talk about motivation. Motivation is like the fuel for your memory. When you're excited about learning English, maybe because you want to travel, get a job, or talk to friends, your brain puts extra energy into saving words. But when you're only studying because you have to, it's harder. You don't feel connected to the goal. So, how can you use motivation to remember better? Easy. Connect every new word to your personal reason for learning English. For example, if your goal is travel, imagine yourself using the word in a real conversation in another country. If your goal is work, picture yourself saying the word in a meeting. Your environment is also a big part of this memory game. Think about where you study English. Is it noisy? Is your phone buzzing with notifications? Are you trying to learn while lying in bed half asleep? If so, your brain isn't in memory mode. You need a space where your brain can focus. It doesn't have to be fancy. It could be your desk, a quiet corner, or even a park bench. Just make it a place where you feel awake, comfortable, and free from distractions. That way, your brain says, okay, we're in the learning zone. Time to save things. Here's a little trick. Change your environment sometimes to make learning exciting. If you always study in the same place, your brain can get lazy. But if you sometimes take your English outside or listen to English music while walking, your brain wakes up. New surroundings create fresh emotional tags for your words. One more thing. Learning with other people can boost memory. Why? Because talking and laughing with others adds emotion and connection to the words. Even if you make mistakes, your brain will remember the feeling of that moment. That's why speaking clubs, language exchange, or even practicing with a friend online works so well. Here's your memory mission for today. Pick one new English word. Learn it while feeling strong emotion. Maybe watch a funny video that uses it, or imagine a dramatic scene with that word. Study it in a place that feels new or special. Use it in a sentence with a friend, or even say it out loud to yourself with energy. By the end of the day, that word will feel alive. Your memory is not just about practice. It's about how you feel, why you care, and where you are when you learn. Once you control those three things, emotion, motivation, and environment, you'll remember words much faster and keep them much longer. Chapter 5. The Never Forget Plan. Now you know the main reasons why we forget words. No repetition, no connection, no emotion, weak motivation, and bad environment. But knowing is only half the game. The real victory is turning that knowledge into a plan you can follow every single day. This is what I call the Never Forget Plan. It's simple, it works for beginners, and you can start it right now. Step 1. Choose fewer words. Learn them deeper. Don't try to learn 30 new words in one day. That's like trying to eat 10 pizzas in one sitting. Your brain can't digest it all. Instead, choose 3 to 5 words per day and give them your full attention. Learn their meaning, picture them, feel them, and use them. The deeper you go with each word, the longer it stays. Step 2. Use spaced repetition. Remember the forgetting curve from Chapter 2? Beat it by reviewing at smart intervals. Day 1. Learn the word and use it. Day 2. Quick review. Day 4. Review again. Day 7. Use it in a sentence. Day 14. Review once more. This schedule keeps the word alive in your brain. Step 3. Create strong connections. Link each new word to something you already know. If the word is river, connect it to water, bridge, and maybe a river you've seen in real life. The more connections, the easier it is to remember. Step 4. Add emotion and fun. Never learn words in a cold, boring way. Make them part of a story, joke, or game. If the word makes you smile, laugh, or even feel surprised, it sticks longer. That's why watching shows, listening to songs, or reading funny stories in English is so effective. Step 5. Change your learning environment. Sometimes study in your usual spot, but sometimes take your learning outside, to a cafe or to a park. A new environment wakes up your brain. Just like a vacation gives you fresh memories, a new place gives your words fresh life. Step 6. Speak the words out loud. Don't just read silently. Say the word. Feel your mouth making the sounds. Hearing yourself helps your brain store it better. If you have no one to talk to, speak to yourself. It works. Step 7. Teach the word to someone else. This is my secret weapon. When you explain a word to another person, your brain works harder to organize and store it. It's like saving the file twice. Now let's do a quick example using this plan. The word is mountain. Step 1. Only focus on mountain today, not 20 other words. Step 2. Learn it today, review tomorrow, then on day 4, 7, and 14. Step 3. Connect it to hiking, snow, view, and the name of a mountain near your city. Step 4. Imagine climbing it, feeling tired but proud when you reach the top. Step 5. Learn it while walking outside or sitting near a window with a nice view. Step 6. Say mountain out loud 10 times today. Step 7. Teach it to a friend or even tell your pet. This is a mountain. Do this, and you won't just know the word mountain. It will be part of your memory for years. Here's the truth. Forgetting is normal. It's not a sign you're bad at English. It's just your brain's way of managing space. The trick is to show your brain which words are worth keeping forever. And you do that by repeating, connecting, feeling, speaking, and teaching them. So, my challenge to you is this. For the next 7 days, follow the Never Forget plan with at least 1 word per day. Track your progress. By the end of the week, you'll see how much stronger your memory feels. And remember, friends, learning English is not about speed. It's about consistency. If you keep showing up every day, even for 10 minutes, your brain will reward you. Every forgotten word is not a failure. It's just an invitation to remember better next time. This is Avenel from Bookso English, reminding you that your English memory is like a muscle. Use it, train it, and it will grow stronger every day.